Okay.
And Scott Denny is here from OHA, and he would like us to take up his item. It was added to the agenda. If we could
I
take
thought
that up
added
before
items
lunch.
go last. That's been our format.
Well, you don't have to take it up. He's asking. So he's here. He's been waiting.
Could we just do it because he's here?
It's up to you.
Scott?
Good morning.
Morning.
Scott Denny, Housing Authority. Well, I believe you also received a short memo just giving some justification as to the reason behind the travel. Better Business, Better Building Conference is an annual thing that historically Housing Authority has sent people to. Primarily our work crews, consisting of carpenters, maintenance people, and so on and so forth. We have a master electrician. The conference provides the opportunity, as stated in the memo, to increase education regarding weatherization, energy efficiency, and some innovative approaches to home maintenance and rehab. Currently, we maintain and rehab approximately, or just short of, 300 rental units. And the working staff that would be going to this training are the people that are the hands-on people that do those functions. And as I noted in the memorandum, of course, coming from Housing Authority, the money used to send these people off to that training is grant dollars that we've already received and allocated for education and training. So that's really about all I have to add to it, really.
Mr. Chairman, motion to deny the request.
We have a motion to deny the request. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by David Jordan. Discussion? I have a question.
Sure.
If you don't go on this travel, how would you accommodate the training portion of your grant?
Well,
You don't.
probably you don't. And
But isn't that a requirement of your grant?
Yes.
probably the larger scope of the grant, and it sort of correlates a little bit with some of the earlier discussion. Restricting or reducing or delaying cash flow of the grant doesn't necessarily help us along for the future. I can only speak for Housing Authority. There's other grants that are out there that could be different. But of course, we continue to be under the looking glass from the sequester perspective of needing to spend down our dollars. And of course, this isn't a major expense, but pennies equal dollars in that spend down. And we already have, these things approved in the budget to do. We already have the money, and the final expense does not affect the tribal contribution funds. So that's it.
Is there an issue? I know last time I was at NCAI, there was a concern that in Washington they were considering the lack of spending done by the Navajo Nation, and that they weren't spending down their grant. They weren't using their grant as prescribed they weren't saying what they were going to do. They weren't doing what they were saying they were going to do.
Yeah.
And that became like not only a threat on the Navajo Nation, but other tribes who are not spending their grants.
And that continues to be across the board. That's still in place today. There's been some modifications as far as the sequester schedule, as far as how much that might impact you in the next 1 to 2 different grants that be coming down the pipeline. Still, with that being said, not spending, and carrying balances, and it has a negative impact because, of course, they're looking at, we gave you this money for these reasons. You listed out these things you're going to do. You're going to maintain homes. You're going to educate your staff. You're going to employ people. You're going to build houses, so on and so forth. And when you, at the end of the day, if you come out saying, "Well, I'm not doing any of those things, and I'm not spending the money," it's going to create questions at Washington level for sure.
Well, I think there's a lot more other things that they're gonna question, other than traveling to a conference. You know, we're in cost containment, the travel restriction is on, you're looking to send 9 people. Last year, there was some horrendous issues that occurred at this conference. There were some violations of tribal law and policy that occurred. I don't know how that's gonna be monitored this year. I'm just very uncomfortable with supporting this request.
Well, there was, in light of that, there were 2 people involved in the incident that you're referring to. One of those individuals is not going on this. The other person did not have a renewed contract, so they're no longer employed by OHA. And in that case, there was not a supervisor on site for the staff that OHA sent. And this year, there's actually going to be a supervisor, or at least that was intended as we wrote it up.
Greg?
So now we gotta send supervisors to ensure that people will behave when they travel.
He's also in charge of the area that does all this work, so he's benefiting from the education as well.
Greg?
He's a hands-on supervisor.
Greg?
I'm opposed to the motion, and I'm in support of the effort for OHA to continue to improve the training efforts and to stay on top of the cutting-edge efforts that the building industry is offering at these type of conferences. I've never attended the conferences, but I've sat down a number of times with the organizers of it, and I did indeed send guys there that were under my supervision, and they came back with a lot of collective information regarding the state of the art, as well as the new and upcoming things that were being offered in the building industry. So I don't, and being how it is a local travel, I'm in full support of the effort, and it's been there for years through housing.
Okay, any more comments from the business committee?
And I would just like to see that we already partnered with NWTC. I think there'd be better training taking place here at NWTC than there would be if on a 2-day or an overnighter down in Wisconsin Dells, when you can actually have classes that are set up right here at NWTC as one of our partners to spend down some of that grant money.
I agree with both.
Okay,
We don't do enough of it.
That's right.
any more comments? We'll vote. Patty, could you read the motion?
To reject the request.
Okay. All those in favor of rejecting the request, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, I think.
3.
Okay, Patty?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, what?
What do you?
No.
Okay, rejecting the request.
That's wrong. She said,
Okay, I think we're confused on, to reject the request, that means,
Motion,
motioner.
means no,
Against her own
no
motion.
Wisconsin Dells.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay, let's do this again.
Okay.
The motion is to reject.
Reject.
You support the rejection.
No.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I'm still confused. You don't support the rejecting.
Right.
Okay, do you support the rejecting?
Support.
You support the rejecting? You don't support the rejecting?
Yes.
Yes,
Do
and
you
Yes, I
support the rejecting?
motion.
Yeah.
Yes, I support the
No.
motion.
3-3?
Yes.
Bill?
I support. No, I don't support. I don't support the rejection.
Okay.
So,
I guess cost containment
wait for the
doesn't
minutes.
matter.
yeah. The rejection, the motion fails.
Okay, so we need another motion.
We need another motion.
Motion to support the request, make the procedural exception by OHA.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Greg, supported by Patty. All those, we'll do a roll call again. Patty?
Yes.
No.
Opposed.
Yes.
Opposed.
yes.
Okay,
Okay, it's a tie.
yes.
Mr. Chairman, I oppose the motion to send 9 people to this conference. 1, because we're in cost containment. 2, because it's an excessive procedural exception. 3, because there were some personnel issues that occurred last year that are still pending consideration. 4 is because I really don't think this is a necessary travel. This can be done here, And I don't know what the value is in this. It's taken us going on 3 years to build 5 duplexes. I think those guys need to be here to get some work done timely. And obviously this conference, if they've continued to attend it, hasn't helped alleviate that issue that took
Point of order,
almost
sir.
3 years. No, this is my statement for the record, and I think it's relevant. And everybody else wants to push everything under the carpet, and I can't continue to do that anymore. That's for the record.
I'd like to also make a statement for the record. The points brought up by the treasurer were induced many times by the business committee. The inactivity by the staff
Now
of
that's a
OHA.
point of order.
Well,
That's a huge
Come
point
on,
of
come on,
order.
come on.
No,
Let's,
I am
yeah.
serious.
there's been,
Are you making a statement for the
Wait,
record?
wait,
You're-
wait,
you're-
wait,
you're-
wait, wait,
You're
hold on.
commenting on my statement for the record, and I think that's inappropriate.
Greg, could you make your, for the record
If you guys
statement?
want to go and have a big party in the Dell,
Let's not involve
Let's
other
hope
BC
nobody gets
members.
arrested this
Make your
year.
point of order.
my point of order is that this business committee members have never attended that conference, so to make those type of objections to it would have to have much more substantial information shared.
well, I can only tell you what I see.
Okay, thank you. I think we're coming close to needing to go for lunch.
Motion to recess for lunch.
Okay, we have a motion by Tina Danforth to go for lunch.
Until 1:30?
1:30, yes. Supported by Vince De La Rosa. Discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Just a big joke.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
The time is 12:07.
Looking for a motion to come back into session. Motion by Greg Matson to come back into session, seconded by Brandon Stevens. Discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, Midwest Alliance of Sovereign Tribes Impact Week, March 23rd to the 26th. Sponsor, Tina.
Yes, I'm requesting to attend the Mass Impact Week, March 23rd to 26th in D.C.
Okay, we have a request from Treasurer Tina Danforth to attend Mass, March 23rd to 26th. Do we have a motion? Who do we have going?
Nobody yet.
Oh, yeah, nobody yet. So we have 1, 2,
We retro-approved 3 people to attend
those
already.
already retro approved. Huh?
So I make a motion to reject.
We have a motion to
Based
reject.
on what?
We already are sending 3. We had a retro.
Well, we just sent 9 people to the Dells. And
We have we have an e-poll that we're sending 3 business committee members there.
I understand that.
We have a motion to reject
We don't have a
Patty
second.
Heff, second by Greg Matson. Discussion.
The cost containment resolution allows for government officials to attend government functions, meetings, congressional meetings, and it is appropriate that I go. And I think it's something that's necessary, just for me as it is for anyone else on the committee. And like I said, we just approved a procedural exception to let 9 people go to a conference, even though we're in cost containment.
I think we set somewhat of a contentious precedence if we start denying some BC members and allowing other BC members. That's something I don't think we normally do. It just
And I really don't like the e-polls because, you know, we talk about being transparent. You know, this agenda is transparent, but if you get something approved before it even gets to the agenda, then nobody knows about it other than the people who are on the email. So to me, I'm being more transparent by bringing it here first. And it's timely enough. It's not that it's untimely.
We had talked about this at a scheduled BC work meeting about how to participate at MAST. You weren't at that meeting.
That's
It was
true.
scheduled for you to be there, and you're often not at BC work meetings.
I beg
so
your
that
pardon.
so that you are aware of
I'm
what's
allowed
going
a
on.
vacation time once in a while.
This has nothing to do
So
with
you-
vacation.
Oh, yes, it does,
No.
because it came up
It's
at
not go back
GTC.
And at that meeting,
yes.
we discussed who
Right.
would go, and
Then
these
listen.
3 people all had reasons
Point
to
of
go.
order, Mr. Chairman.
So-
Point of order. I have a request to travel. And just because it's me, the secretary wants to be all over it.
No, it has
Yes,
nothing
she
to do
does.
with you.
Like I said, this is the place to ask.
That's
Not
right.
on an e-poll, not on a subcommittee work meeting. Subcommittee work meeting is to work on work. This is the place that we bring travel requests. And I have a right to ask for that and not be criticized about whether I'm attending meetings or not, Patty. I don't appreciate that one bit. I
I'm
do
only
not.
sharing that
That's not-
because you raised the question about when the decision was made, so I'm
No,
trying to
I
tell
don't,
you
I'm
that
just
in
telling
these
you
work
that this is the
meetings-
Hey, let's
place.
have-
Okay, if you don't want to let me
I-
explain, that's
let's
okay.
have some
You,
more-
Yeah,
you
I
can
don't
finish
need your
talking.
explanation.
I know you're
I don't
upset.
need your explanation for
Obviously.
me to ask to go to a necessary appropriate as anyone else to attend.
Right, I know,
Okay.
you are asking, but I'm
This-
saying no.
You guys are going back and forth, you're arguing, and this is not the way we're supposed to be acting. So let's stop the arguing. Let's make statements and let people make statements on this. I made my statement that I think we're going in a not-so-good direction when we deny some BC members and allow other BC members. We don't normally do that. If they're utilizing their not there, but the amount granted to them for enhancing their initiatives, they should be able to do that. Otherwise, what we're going to have is a select few going, and we shouldn't be selecting who can go and participate and serve the people. It's an obligation of all of us. So we don't normally do this, restrict someone's travel. We do have a motion on the floor. Are we done with discussion?
I guess for me, I would just like to have more coordination because this was we have a business committee meeting that week, and we need to make sure that we have a quorum for that week, and that's the biggest concern. And then we're going to meet with Scott Dacey in the next couple weeks and have a schedule of what it is our initiatives are as far as the national level, and I think when you had a discussion and just foregoing is over the top.
Okay, we have a motion. Any more comments? We're going to vote now. I guess we'll do a roll call, starting with Madam Secretary.
Yes.
Opposed.
I oppose.
Support.
Motion passed, 3-2.
Next on the agenda, ratify e-poll Midwest Alliance of Sovereign Tribes MAST Impact Week.
Motion to support.
Motion to support by Patty Heft. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Brandon Stevens. Discussion.
I don't think it's appropriate to do e-polls, and I don't think that should have been the rationale for me not going. And if the concern is about people traveling, then nobody should go. But it's really about the person, isn't it?
Nope, it has nothing to do with the person.
Sure it
Often,
does.
in fact, probably all of your requests for travel have never been approved, or have always been approved. And we don't question you on it. We don't.
That's not true.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, we're asking
Most
for
of us don't.
individual comment.
this came out of a work
Patty?
meeting regarding MAST.
Chairman, I'd just like to comment. I'd just like to comment that MAST has been making some adjustments and trying to focus on key issues. And that's my intent in the attendance, is to not only represent as the Mass Secretary, but represent the Oneida Tribe's concerns. We've got some key point issues we're trying to address at the Mass meeting regarding EPA, FDA, USDA, as well as healthcare issues. So that's my intention. All the days I'll be attending will be filled with those type of activities.
Okay, do we have a motion on the floor?
Yes,
It's been seconded?
yes,
Okay, we'll vote, starting with the secretary.
yes.
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 No,
Support.
Okay, motion
for the
carries.
record, I'm denying the request because I think we all serve in the same capacity for the same purposes, and there's a lot of work to be done at MAST, and the more that attend, the more coverage we can have to get to the congressional offices.
Thank you,
Mr.
Chief.
Chairman, I'd like to make a statement for the record. There is a reason to limit BC travel because we are currently in cost containments, and leadership on this issue starts at the top, and it's important that the business committee display leadership in making sure that we are controlling our spending as well and trying to do more with less.
And that's what I'm doing by being forthcoming.
Please don't counter my for the record statement.
I'm coming
Please, Mr.
forth,
Chairman,
right?
could we please
okay.
I'm
call
not
her on
talking
the record?
about you. I'm
She
talking
oftentimes is arguing with me, and I cannot get a statement out.
I
Please, Mr.
come
Chairman.
to the
Please,
committee
Mr. Chairman, control her.
in a public
Please, Mr.
forum.
Chairman.
Patty
Please,
made her
Mr. Chairman.
statement. Tina, you made your statement. We're going on to the next issue. Oh, good grief. Have a good time for this. Requesting rental car March 3rd through the 11th. It says here, I'm not requesting it for from the 3rd to 11th. The memo says one day during that time I'm going to take for my vacation. And since I'll be in Phoenix, I'm going to drive to Yuma to talk to Frank Cornelius, who is the petitioner, and update him and tell him where we're at and where we're going without divulging confidential information because he hasn't agreed to be part of the confidential information part. But I'm going to take one day. I won't have a car when I'm in Arizona. I'm flying down there, and I won't have a car. So it'll be one day to do tribal business while I'm there, which will cost about $80.
Mr. Chair.
Brandon.
I normally wouldn't under the circumstances, but since it's the General Tribal Council mandate, I think he does need to be apprised of the situation, and rather than you're going to be down there already, rather than him expend the cost of coming up here for an update, I'll make a motion to approve the request.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Support.
Support by Greg Mattson. Discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain?
Motion carries, one abstention. Tina Danforth.
I'm abstaining for the record because this is out of the ordinary.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, we have, number 5 was deleted from the agenda. We dealt with the first edition, which was OHA travel. The second edition is from Councilman Brandon Stevens, a travel request.
Okay, Brandon?
As you got the backup, it's Native American Critical Issues, where I was asked to be the keynote speaker for a group dealing with Native American issues. The Saginaw Chips, they have similar issues as we do. They're next to Mount Pleasant, which has a similar issues about gangs, issues around the same population, same demographics. They're allotted, and they asked me to talk about our issues that we're dealing with and kind of share information. I think this would be a good opportunity for our communities to use the resources back and forth as far as our gang prevention and what they've done with theirs as well. And all expenses, travel, lodging will be covered.
We have a motion?
Make that motion to support the request based upon the information given.
Motion made by Greg Mattson. Do we have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Patty Heft. Discussion? You did mention it's being paid for by them.
Yep.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain?
Motion carries. One abstention. Tina Danforth.